Hello, everybody. How's it doing? How's it going? Welcome. Why is my mic way over there? You can probably barely hear me. Let's try that again. Hello, everybody. How's it doing? How's it going? Welcome back to another fan reading, another fan story on the Creepcast subreddit. I was wanting to post this yesterday, but my brother was over, and I was just kind of hanging out with him. But you guys probably don't care. Anyway, today's story is by a Reddit user. I'm looking at my phone here. Named, let's see, Gun Prophet 1177, and he wrote a story called "The Man Who Kept Walking." I read this. Oh, I didn't know I didn't read this, but I wanted to read it. It looks kind of interesting, short enough, because I don't want to get into really long stories yet. But this looked interesting. I like the title. "The Man Who Kept Walking." Could be mysterious, could be edgy, could be something. I don't know. But yeah, let's get right into the spooky. The Man Who Kept Walking by Gun Prophet 1177. A man walked through a busy city street, his gaze fixed on the ground. People rushed past, voices blended into the blur. Blended into a blur, not the blur. But he remained disconnected, as if moving through a world not his own. Suddenly, he stumbled into someone, a stranger holding a small girl in his arms. The child was limp. The man's face was soaked in tears as he cried out, "Help! Please someone call 911!" But the man kept walking, unmoved. A few blocks later, he stopped briefly at the edge of a quiet park. An old man sat alone on a bench by the lake, scattering crumbs for a pair of ducks. Then, without warning, the old man slumped forward and fell from the bench. He didn't move again. The path was empty, no one else around. Still, the man said nothing. He did nothing. He just walked on. Turning a corner, a sharp cry echoed from a nearby alley. "Help me!" He glanced toward the sound. A woman was struggling, being robbed, her voice strained, her face contorted in fear. The man paused, only a moment before continuing down the street, unaffected. Eventually, he reached the cemetery at the city's edge. There, a lone caretaker was lowering a coffin into a freshly dug grave. The man watched from a distance as the caretaker strained with the pulley system. Tears streamed down his face, falling like rain onto the polished wood. Then suddenly, the cord slipped. Both the coffin and the caretaker fell into the grave. I'm sorry. No, that's not funny. That's not funny. It just sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. That just seemed like something out of like a Saturday morning cartoon. Alright, where was I? The man turned okay. Caretaker fell into the grave. The man just turned away. He crossed the street just as a car sped toward the intersection. The driver, eyes glued to his phone, looked up at the last second just in time to swerve. He missed the man, but crashed into a coffee shop at the corner. Shattered glass, screams, and dust filled the air. Hi, yes, I would like a decaf mocha. Wah! Just I don't need to be butchering this person's story. I'm sorry. Oh man, still, the man didn't flinch. Behind him, chaos and cries echoed through the streets. At the end of the block, he saw a child kneeling beside a motionless woman on the sidewalk. Her mother. The child sobbed, clinging to her still hand. The man walked past without slowing. Further on, a police officer was caught in the middle of a heated conflict between two groups. Tension cracked. Someone pulled a gun. A shot rang out. The officer was hit in the throat. He fell, gasping for blood pouring between his fingers. People scattered in panic, leaving the officer alone. The man passed by. Their eyes met briefly, and the officer's final breath. All he saw on the stranger's face was emptiness. Sirens screamed behind him as he reached the steps of his apartment. Police cruisers sped past, lights flashing. He opened up the door and stepped inside. And there, hanging from the ceiling, a man. Familiar, lifeless. The man stared in silence. His eyes drifted to the end table. There lay a note written in uneven ink. What is wrong with life? Okay, a couple questions. I see where you're going with this. It's interesting in its own right because like nothing good seems to come from this world. Like it's like there's just one giant hellscape of like death and despair and punishment. But the ending of what is wrong with life, I feel like it'd be tweaked a little bit. I like how the mystery of is there a little bit. Like, is this the dude? Did he hang himself? Was he just walking around as he watched people die and suffer? It it gives me this vibe of an older creepypasta, the No End House. You know, you walk through multiple doors, you see certain things, you get certain fears, and like you feel pain. I feel like maybe there's a little inspiration from this. I could be wrong, but honestly, it's fine for what it is. But honestly, thank you for the story. Let's see here. Gun Prophet 1177. Keep writing. Like I said in the last video, you can only get better from here. So don't give up. You'll do great. And honestly, that's about it for this story. I hope you all liked it. It's not. It was fun to read. It's not my cup of tea. But like I said, I'm here to reach out to the fans. Just keep them in mind. Just trying to get their word and their work out. So I will leave a link in the description to his to the story and the rest of his Reddit. So thanks again so much for watching. I appreciate it, and you all have a great one. And remember, if you don't go around, Death Alley or whatnot, what am I freaking saying?